Good evening, everybody. It's about 6:20 on Wednesday, and I thought I'd... Oh, it's looking alright, isn't it? See, the Bonder primer didn't react badly to the brushable seam sealer, so that's all good. So I'm going to prepare those bits of metal to go back in here now. I've got the bit for here, but I'll have to make a flange return, and I'll have to make the piece that goes in there. I did save the bits that I cut out, but like that front wing, I think that was part of the front wing. That was part of the inner sill with a drain hole in it. Oh, not inner sill, that bit, you know what I mean by now. That went in there somewhere. In fact, that might have gone exactly there. It doesn't look so bad. I might try and save it. It would save me fabricating a chunk. It certainly needs a bit of a repair around there. There's no point actually. It doesn't need to be a neat shape. I'll just do it in cardboard. Put a return on the bottom and bosh it in. I had a request on... I haven't looked at my computer to remind myself of who it was who asked, but it was a request, and I think there'd been one previously, of welder settings and things like that. So what I might do in future videos is just talk about my welder really, and what it is I do with it and how I set it up. All welders are different, and there is no sort of magic number because it always depends on the metal you're welding, how thick it is, how nicely prepared it is, and stupid things like even the angle of the weld, so whether you're welding top to bottom or across, or whether you're plug welding it or whatever. So I will occasionally show reference to the welder a little bit more, and I don't know, I might do an instructional video, I might not, haven't decided yet. Gonna do some cardboard template making again. I've lost a crucial piece of metal. No, I haven't. Here it is, this one. So that one's going back in there. Hopefully you can. What I need to do is put a piece in there for that to finish off, but then it also has to continue all the way up to here and close that off. It doesn't actually have to have a flange return on it because that's just the way it's done in factory, but I think I'm going to repeat it just because it's a lot faster to put spot welds in there or plug welds in than it is to seam all the way along. So I'm going to make a panel that comes from here all the way down to there, along, and then just section that bit off afterwards. This doesn't need to be neat because it all gets hidden by that wing that I'm making. Goes over the top like that, so you won't see it. It's just a case of getting it on there. Just doing a bit of a check on what gauge steel the leading edge of the sill should be. In fact, all of the sill. So that's that bit I chopped off. It's coming up with about 1.21 or 1.2, and that's what I've got, 1.21 1.2, so just a good check that I am putting in steel that's the right sort of thickness. Most of my repairs, like in and around the front wing and that, were done in 1 mil or 0.9, which is about the same, whereas this has got to be a bit thicker, so that's 1.2, and that's what we're going to need, that's what we're going to use. I deliberately left this bit long because the easiest way to join it is to sit this bit on top, like so, like that, because then I can just run a speed of weld along there. But obviously that bit might want to tuck up behind. It's really, what am I going to do? Think about this. Go like that. Go on there. I think I'm going to cut a slot in there, and that will allow me to post this through easily. That'll go in there like that. It can be hammered up. Put some speed holes in here ready for plug welding. Let's get this thing clamped up. One final look.
starting to come together. This is going to work lovely onto there and along the bottom. It's deliberately moved up because of course this panel has to go on top and sit lower and then be hammered round. That's why there's a step in it here. This bit will go back in here. I can butt weld all of that pretty well because this is such thick metal, and then I can weld along there fine. I might have a bit of a gap to fill here, but because I'm welding upside down, the weld pool will want to drip into there. Plus I can hammer this in without messing up that line there, so long as I weld that corner first, because that will be really stiff. So I can hit that bit in and that bit won't move, and that bit you will see, which is why I don't want to move it. Then as I weld progressively forward, I'll just have to clean this bit out and you know, weld it in, and then up here I'll just have to dress that up as I get there, weld it in nicely. But it's all looking like it'll go as I come to weld it. I will just whip this off now, clean that bit out, and I might put a dent in there as well to help me. Right, yeah, that gives me a bit of confidence that that is actually going to work. So I think it's time to go and get the welder. Where's my big ruler thing? I just want to check that that is still straightish. Yeah, good. Going back to welder settings, if I do indeed elaborate on welder settings, on this one you've got two dials. That's your wire feed, so the faster you, or the higher the number, the faster the motor will be pushing the reel to push the MIG wire up the harness. Then you have min and max power settings, and then 1, 2 and 3. So you would be 1 and min is the lowest, then 1 and max, then 2 and min, 3 and max, 3 and min, 3 and max. That 3 and max, you literally would only ever use that like welding 5mm plate or something. On car body stuff, pretty much the most I'll ever use is 2 and max. Real fine work, when I'm blobbing bits together that will probably burn through, I'll go to the minimum setting. Most of the time I'm welding like 1mm stuff, I'll be on 1 and max, and then stuff like this, which is 1.2 to 1.5 thick, I'll be between 2 min and 2 max, depending on what exactly I'm doing. And then plug welding, I'll probably be on 2 max as well. But for the initial tacking, I'm going to go with 1 max, which is sort of 1 or 2/6 of the way through its power range. And I know from experience that wire speed for that is just a shade over 6, I think. But all of these things, this is why I never do like a how to weld video, because A, I'm not a professional, every weld is different, and every piece of metal you weld is different, and it is just playing around and practicing and basically knowing that if you screw it up, it's only metal and you can chop it out and do it again. Anytime you're doing something like that, which isn't a one-off event, it's nice to know you can fix it. And of course the other variable in all of this is how long you pull the trigger, because that wasn't sinking in nicely. I just held the trigger for longer, which got it hotter until it melted in. That bit welded really nicely. This bit, when I tacked it, the MIG wire was beading up and rolling off and dropping away before I was getting any heat penetration to join the bits together. So I'm going to turn the current up a bit. I've turned the power up, so I'm now on 2 min on my welder, which is 3/6 of the way through its range. And you can see straight away how I'm getting a lot more heat in there, and the welds despite being upside down, are sitting flatter, because as soon as the MIG arc or the weld arc is set up, the wire is becoming molten and flowing basically, whereas up here, even though I was holding the trigger for about the same amount of time, the welds never flowed in quite as well. So those are really nice actually, but I probably wouldn't want to use it up here because it might just burn back that top panel. Let's have a look. It might be alright. Actually, that worked really nicely as well. I think because this is all 1.2, I'm able to run more power through it than I would have been able to had it been 1 mil. If you are interested in welding and you want to learn more about it, I can definitely recommend the MIG welding forum, which is pretty much how I learned to weld. There's some really knowledgeable people. In fact, that's where I bought that welder from. It was a guy, Welder Quip, off there. Plug weld now. I haven't turned the welder up, but I probably will need to. Let's have a go. It looks alright, but you can feel there hasn't been that much penetration on the back. So I'll crank it up a bit and then try again on that one. It won't come off, I'm sure that's still a good weld, but the whole point is that these two pieces of metal are fused. So you might as well. So this is now 2 max, which is fourth stage out of 6. So I can tell that's had a lot more heat, was fusing in, and in fact I didn't turn the wire speed up, and you can hear it basically burning back into the gun itself. So I've turned the wire feed up a bit now. And I'm just tapping the metal so it's actually close to start with, otherwise it would probably just want to burn back and fill up the hole in this with actually not penetrating into the panel behind. That's better. I can't feel it, but I know that that's a good weld. It actually burnt out, and then the molten pool ran down and I was left with a void above. So while it was still hot, I filled it up, and the reason I did it while it was still hot is because I know it would sink flat and flow in nicely rather than just sitting proud on the top like some of the tacks did, like that one. Alright, so I'm going to turn, I think I've got one more, haven't I? Yeah, that one. Now I can turn the welder back down to sort of semi-normal levels. Right, let's have a go at, excuse me, putting our closing panel in on top. This is where clecos, magnets, pins, all of those sorts of things would come in handy. We shall try and freestyle it. I'm going to tack it there, and then hopefully we can bend it into shape. This is where I burn myself horribly. Ow! Yeah, I did burn myself. Well, upside down welding with my eyes closed, that's a pretty good result. One thing I should have done is bent that tab down a bit more so it touches. I don't know whether I can get in there now. Probably not. Damn it. You can see what I was trying to do. I left that panel long so that I could fill that bit in. It's not super crucial because that bit you won't see obviously and it gets covered. That's going to be solid, so it can just be tossed full of filler. So it would be nice if I could have done it all in metal and made it all look nice, but never mind. I'm butt welding this and I'm never going to be able to get to the inside to check the penetration or clean it smooth. The outside is going to have to be linished smooth, so I'm trying to deliberately keep quite a lot of heat on here to ensure I get good penetration. So I want my weld looking like that, flat and sunk in, because that means the weld pool has probably gone right the way through to the other side and I've got good penetration. So when that's ground smooth, I'll still be left with a piece of metal that's 1.2 mil thick. That's the plan anyway. I mean, it's not exactly now a load bearing area. There's so much other metal in here. When you compare to basically all of that was missing anyway, it's not like it's going to fall apart if that is only 1 mil thick. Just turn my wire speed up a bit because I'm welding upside down again. Just means that the wire gets into contact to make an arc before it burns back and drops in the gun. The other thing that you can do to help is hold it more at an angle like that, but then I wouldn't be able to see, so I'm still going to weld upside down and away from myself, which is not how you're meant to weld, but it's just easier this way for me. Ow.
I might have been blocking quite a lot of that with my head. Anyway, this bit here, with the best will in the world, that's going to be an arse to weld up. Because I've got quite a big gap, the weld is probably going to strike up on one side or the other and burn a big hole in the other bit. What I could do is weld upside down again all the way along there, and starting from a sort of closed end, but I do want to tack it as well so they can run in between the tacks. but I'm going to turn the welder down so that I reduce the chances of burning through. So I was on 2 min, I'm going to go down to 1 max and wind the feed down a tad, and then see how that works, and do my best not to blow a big hole. You can actually see the cavity wax inside setting fire, which will mean that this whole area is hotter and more likely to burn through. So you really got to take your time. The other thing is, if I put another weld onto that one, I'm going to be coming away from the level of the steel that I want to fill the void in. So I'm going to take the grinder now and just nip these back, so the next weld I put in isn't sitting proud. So the danger is, if I keep going between tacks and on the top of the next one, by the time I grind it all smooth, I'll be back to the surface and I'll have left a void behind. I'm not explaining it very well, which is why I don't usually do how-to videos, but hopefully someone out there understands what I'm on about. I don't know whether you could see that, but I was directing the MIG wire onto the back of the tack before, and because the first one was sanded flush, it meant that my first weld was quite well in and the other ones were too. Whereas if I had left them all proud, so they were kind of like that level, then I'd welded onto it, it would have built the weld up onto that rather than in between those two panels. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if it doesn't, and if somebody's watching this and like looks at comments and thinks they can explain it better, please just do that as well, because I'm not a welding professor. Got greedy then and tried to melt it in and burnt a big hole, which I'll now have to fill in, which is annoying. Right, annoyingly, I didn't realise I'd run out of video memory on my camera. So I've come down here to show you what I thought I'd kind of already captured. And that is the repair pretty much done with zinc put on the top of it. That bit I linished smooth. I did have a pinhole to fill in on that corner, so I sanded through it. That's all nice. That will need filler afterwards, and I was chastising myself for it. I realised, of course, I'm missing the return down between, well, there. The sill should have come all the way down, so I'll have to make that bit and add it on afterwards. But altogether, it's looking pretty good. I can't remember the sequence of the videos or whether it was recorded, but I need to drill a drain hole here as well, so water can flow down the inside of the car, come out through that drain hole and through that hole there. But anyway, we're done for tonight, and I'll probably go and upload this now. See you later.